Warning, the following communications are not authorized. Please disable your signals and report to your local re-education center immediately. Failure to comply will result in immediate reprimand and capital punishment.
We are live on so many things now. Twitter, both of our Twitters, YouTube, Getter, 25 YouTube channels, 25 Twitter channels. Eric Butler, how are you?
Absolutely amazing. So, I don't know how Twitter works, but is it working? Can you tell? I don't know.
I can check for you, I guess. I guess I'm your secretary now, Eric Butler from TatumReport.com. Yes, I see it's there. Not to worry.
Oh, well, I still don't know how it works, but whatever. I will take your word for it.
Go follow him on Twitter.
Oh, okay. I got it. Look at that. I see it now. Wow. Crazy.
I see that you're live from Toronto somehow, is according to your background, or is that just another lie?
No, I'm in Toronto now. So I just figured I wanted to see what it was like, what was happening up in America's Hat. So I came up here.
America Junior, as Homer Simpson would call it. We've got so much stuff to get to. Jussie Smollett, CNN, Bill de Blasio, Hilary Clinton crying. There's so many things. What do you want to get to first? There's an unlimited amount of laughs today.
I guess de Blasio, because I say that only because I'm looking at my Instagram right now, and there's people, still. Well, I guess this was last night, but protesting outside of his private residence, not the governor's mansion, or the not the governor, but the mayor's house up at Gracie Mansion. Gracie Mansion. Yeah, this is insane.
We cannot stand by while the government takes away the right to reproductive freedom. People in Texas lost their rights today. Which state will be next? Who knows where this is headed? Congress needs to act. So I think the obvious thing there, Eric, is that whilst taking away people's rights, they're just talking about, like, we can't stand for this grave injustice of our rights being taken away from us. Help us stand up. Congress needs to act now by, doing something that prevents. And they've already tried this, obviously. What is Roe v. Wade then?
Look, dude, the projection, this is a slap in the face, bro. We all know that, it is no secret that the hypocrisy, their cups runneth over, and they continue to just, rules for thee, not for me. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But this guy literally last week on his way out, he's a completely lame duck mayor, is throwing more mandates and more insanity at the wall while pointing the finger at Texas and saying they're taking away your rights. Your right to kill your child, while he's telling you that you don't even have a right to work in New York City if you don't get the poke. I mean, this is insane. I left. I haven't been there in a year, and I thought it was at rock bottom when I left. Obviously, that was wrong. I mean, this is insane.
That was wrong of you to assume. Yeah, it's only taking away your rights when it's things that he agrees or doesn't agree with. So, like you said, you can shut down as many restaurants as you want. He famously said, let's go door to door and put people in vans and get them vaccinated. That was a crazy thing to say.
I think that was actually Cuomo, but whatever.
Right. You're right. My apologies. The top comment here from what I see is just as the irony and then clown face, lots of stuff like that.
Now, okay, let me ask you this though. There's no way that a man who, now look, I'm not going to sit here and say de Blasio is dumb. He obviously figured out a way to become the mayor of America's biggest city, but he can't actually think that people are still buying this. I mean, even in New York, if you look at his Instagram, you will see no. You can even go to London Breed in San Francisco or Gavin Newsom, and you might see a couple of people that are like, oh, this is the right thing. But you can't even find one of those on de Blasio's social media. Now, I will admit, I don't know about Twitter, so maybe people are stupider there and actually like de Blasio. But if you look at his Instagram, you could scroll through hundreds of comments all just bashing this man. Okay, what am I trying to say
on
here?
His Instagram. Child in a mask and this stuff while painting.
He has no heart. One of the top comments. So, I mean, he knows. What's the saying? We know they're lying. They know we know they're lying. He's out, quote unquote, defending the last minute mandates, and he won't answer the questions. This is maybe a little bit off topic, but one of the CNN guys even asked him, "How are you going to enforce this?" And he starts talking about he won't answer the question. None of this makes any sense. So my point here is he doesn't even know how he's going to enforce this. So I urge anybody who's still unfortunately left in New York to just not do this. It doesn't make sense. What's he going to do? Put every business owner in jail? He's going to fine every single business, and it just doesn't make any sense. And obviously, Eric Adams he has been on record saying that we're gonna. I think I don't want to quote him exactly, but saying something along the lines of we're going to continue to pursue vaccines, which doesn't even
Mm-hmm.
make any sense. Like we're going to continue to pursue them. You mean continue with the propaganda all over New York City while crime is through the roof and people are setting Christmas trees on fire? You're still going to push them to take this juice that they don't want. So I have little to no faith in Eric Adams, and if New York has taught us anything, it's that when they get rid of somebody, they already have someone worse ready and willing to take the place of the last tyrannical moron.
You'll be happy to know, Eric, that even BLM doesn't care for this mayor after he said this stuff about vaccination. It's weird for me to say, but they might be the most reasonable chapter of BLM that exists. Maybe I'm biased having interviewed one of them, but they're saying
Well, didn't you
um,
interview two of them? Like both of like the main, like both
no,
of them? Oh. Okay,
but
gotcha.
Shavana Newsom or whatever her name is. That sounds mean to say whatever her name is. It's just that I never remember if it's Siobhan or Shavana. But no, saying that we told you it's a new mayor, same old stuff, empty promises, doesn't actually care, and like it's hard to disagree with that stuff. But what I wonder is how do you? I don't think that Bill De Blasio actually cares about abortion in Texas, especially not enough to go on Instagram and make a post about it. Obviously, this is somebody in his team saying, getting the message, we need to be in solidarity with this stuff, a states' right issue, frankly, because obviously Alabama has zero tolerance rules, whereas other states want no enforcement or any restrictions like it is in Canada. Every time I tell Americans that, they're shocked.
That's
Gun
crazy.
laws and abortion laws in Canada, um, whereas you can argue there are very few gun laws in America, they're all in Canada. And where you can argue there are many abortion laws in America, there are none in Canada. So I don't think the New York City mayor actually spends his time thinking about the abortion laws in Texas. It's just a state that they're very focused on because, by many people's opinions, Texas has a chance to go blue in the next 10 to 15 years or whatever you think might happen. I tend to think the only way
That's
that's going to happen
sad.
is if they
That's
bring
really
over
sad to think
illegal
about.
immigrants. Yeah. Because the places, border cities are so, you'd have to be so brainwashed almost to be sitting there and watching people just travel over your land and then get more rights than you, get free stuff, $500,000 a family or per person actually. Don't have to be vaccinated, all these different things, and be like, yeah, just come here. It's fair. Just just break through. It
And
doesn't
it
make any
doesn't
sense at
matter
all.
though because we know that this is okay. Well, maybe a lot of people don't know. Like to your point, they are brainwashed. But on the abortion thing, okay, this is a states' right issue, and we know that if now I'm not an expert, I don't know all the nitty gritty, but we can only assume that if this Roe v. Wade and that other one that I'm blanking on the name gets overturned, so to speak, then California and New York are going to go even more extreme, and they're going to say something like, "Well, you can abort your kid until he moves out. You can abort the kid until he's 18. Because he's a
Otherwise, no one
burden
is
on you.
murder.
He's a burden on you. He's a whatever they say, a leech or a parasite or whatever kind of
Yeah,
weird dystopian language that they use. They're just gonna say, well, you could abort him, you could cut his junk off, it just, whatever, until he's 18 and 19, he moves out of the house. Like, yeah, you're fine. So they're obviously gonna swing the other way, if anything, if this this federal system or this federal case doesn't go the way they want it, they're gonna jump out the window and just start telling people that come here to murder your kids.
so few people I'd imagine who are in this argument. I didn't know for a long time either that Roe v. Wade is based on a lie. Now I'm just bringing up the um, Wikipedia to see if they've changed it because let's see, lawsuit was heard, appealed. I'm gonna just keyword search the word admit. Maybe not. confesses, maybe.
Yeah, the lady,
303.
the lady
So yeah,
lied.
basically the lady lied because she wanted. It's actually like a racist thing that happened, yet it's again something the Democrats pretend is the complete opposite. This woman lied about being raped because she was ashamed of what happened, and somehow this becomes like the gold standard for law, and it's not even a good one, and that's why people are afraid it's going to get overturned. Now, I wish I could find it. Okay, let's find the woman's name, and then I'll
But
Google
this is what
that.
they do, right? This is what they do. They will project every single shortcoming, every single mistake, every single, not even mistake, but every single planned manipulation. They will throw it back on you, and that's exactly, just to bring it full circle, that's exactly what we see with this Bill de Blasio tweet. Oh my God, these people are losing their freedom over in Texas. Like, dude, you literally just told millions of people, I think, was it 8 million people that live in New York City? It's a lot of people that they can't even go to work if they don't
Mhm.
obey your crazy mandate 3 weeks, 2 weeks before you leave office. I mean,
Here's the woman. Norma McCorvey is her name. And she ended up turning Christian and becoming an anti-abortion activist. In 94, McCorvey published her... I'll blow this up a little bit because I always complain about this at work that it's not big enough. Yeah, shut up, Wikipedia. McCorvey published her autobiography, I Am Roe, at a book signing. She was befriended by blah, blah, an evangelical minister, national director of the anti-abortion organization Operation Rescue. She converted to Christianity and was baptized in 95. She did stuff on television. She voiced her remorse for her part in the Supreme Court decision and said she had been a pawn for abortion activists.
yep.
Catholic Church. Now I want to see where the actual story was that she said that she lied about all of it.
Well, this is
Um,
Wikipedia, so they're probably not going to highlight it. But I also think that
I
she,
know it used to be there though.
I feel like this is not the only story like that, right? Like there must be a handful of other people who basically, I mean, it's like, I mean, not to sound corny, but it's kind of like escaping a cult. And then they're like, whoa, like you realize that these people were using me, and it's happening. Not even just in this like field of abortion. And for the record, I also think that even the term pro-choice is one of the earliest democratic euphemisms. Now we have undocumented citizen and whatever. You can't even say the word looting now. I mean, we've come so far, but I feel like one of the early ones was pro-choice. It's like
Here's
I
the other
guess.
side. Anti-abortion activists use a pile of money and heavy doses of psychological manipulation to convert Norma McCurdy into a trophy for their cause. So they're saying they manipulated her. They
Wow.
manipulated her into becoming Christian. That seems less believable. Um, that she no seemed a shocking
And this is
self-appointed defender.
NBC. This is NBC.
Yes,
Wow.
it says that she admitted on her deathbed it was actually something else. But so she admits to lying about what actually happened, and that's the point here is that she admits to lying to about what actually happened because she was coerced into doing it because she believed in like women's rights and stuff like that, and she believed in a woman's right to choose abortion or not. So she lied about what happened, and then later on, obviously, becomes Christian and admits that that didn't actually happen and that she was coaxed into it. And then it seems like before she died, they were just like, oh well, she actually said that she did this and that, and it's hard for a dead person to rebuke that. um it says, I keep reading this article, born again Christian and a faithful Catholic, that conflation of two very separate Christian traditions illustrates how effective the politicization was in transforming the very character. So I don't know what their point is here. I'd have to read the whole article, but anybody can go look. Take 10 minutes longer than we will. Maybe I'll look for it again during a video, but she
And
recanted her story. Is the long and short of it.
also, I just want to mention too, like, was it a Judge Sotomayor who basically likened the fetus, if you will, to a brain dead person. Again,
Well,
I'm
that's
not. What's that?
I was gonna say in a Steven Crowder Change My Mind video, how these young left wing women will say, "Oh, it's a parasite leeching off your body." He makes the point of there's no medical journal or study that's going to refer to a fetus or a zygote as a parasite. It's more of a symbiotic living being, otherwise known as a child. So if it's a parasite, then a parasite is unnatural. Like a cancer cell is unnatural. So you're saying all of human life is just not meant to be at that point if it's a parasite, or we just have accepted the parasite? That doesn't make any sense.
No,
A
of
parasite that
course.
was purposely created, you
Well,
know?
not purposely, and that's the whole point, is that these people
Well,
can't
for
control
this, no.
themselves. But for this woman, and again, you have to like look it up because I don't have it pulled up. I don't know all the stats. But for her to compare an unborn child to somebody who is brain dead is absolutely insane. Simply for the fact that you don't need to, you don't need to abort someone who's dead, right? That's the literal opposite of what they're
Hmm.
trying to do, right? If this thing was already quote unquote dead, then this wouldn't even be a discussion. You see what I'm saying? It's like you're saying that this person is the same as a brain dead adult who needs to be kept alive through machines. But if that were the case, then this wouldn't even be a discussion because they'd already be dead. You're the one making them dead. But I digress. So we can move on.
Yeah, the story is so convoluted. She was an abortion activist turned Christian, anti-abortion activist. Then they're saying on her deathbed, she said that she
She went,
wasn't an anti-abortion activist. Everybody says she lied about her rape, but at the end of the day, like maybe she was playing both sides, but I think it's fairly well accepted that she did lie about the rape, and that's
I
why
wish,
the
I wish I could get out of this bubble and like, because I mean, look, from where I'm sitting, who are you really going to believe? The abortion machine
it's true.
who comes in at 0 hour, the 11th hour, whatever, on her deathbed and says, oh, actually, she switched back. Like, who's going to believe that? Like, how can you possibly believe that when she has seen from the inside how rotten and crooked and corrupt this like industry is, as she became a Christian and spoke out against it, and then at the very at the last minute they're like, oh well, actually she switched back and now she loves killing babies again. It doesn't make any sense.
All right, let's move on. Maybe we'll tackle this. Maybe we'll have somebody who is more knowledgeable in this come on and we'll talk about it. The great abortion debate. People will say that's a dead issue in UK and Canada. Even Charlie Kirk said that once. It's a dead issue in the UK, and there's no point in fighting it. And I'm like, if you really believe it's killing babies, why are you saying that? But I digress. Hilary Clinton crying is something that can lift all of our spirits. You've heard of this masterclass website or program, like people who are usually extremely coveted people in their profession, like the Chef Ramses. I think Anthony Bourdain might have had one, Penn and Teller. Basically, people really high up in their industry, and you pay to watch a video of them teaching you, which is actually a pretty cool thing. I don't know how they make so much money. People must pay for it, or it's backed by something else. But I almost bought it once. You get to buy like, I think 3, and then if you buy one for somebody else, you get more. I don't remember what the deal was, but basically you watch a video about somebody and it's like a coveted, expensive video of them telling you. I don't know what Hillary Clinton can teach you is the thing. Maybe she can teach you about being a sore loser, but she on
She
this
can teach about
apparently
suicide.
she apparently on this I love that the Clinton body. Fleck has talked is a great shirt for the Clintons. But so she allegedly on this masterclass is reading what would have been her victory speech in 2016. Of course, she sent out the email king himself, John Podesta, after hours of being silent, and she starts crying. I let's discuss after if we think it's real. Let's take a look.
I'm going to share with you what I intended to say if I had been elected in 2016. My fellow Americans, today you sent a message to the whole world.
But they didn't.
Well, the message was, we don't like you.
So I've never read it before.
Oh my God. So why didn't you just
Wait, I thought there was more. There's more to that clip. No, were we gonna see her like actually talk and cry? No, I thought I was getting.
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I'll find more of it. I'll find more of it and we'll be very happy. They want you to pay for the masterclass. Why didn't you have a concession speech ready, Hillary Clinton? But we just got to pretend like that you have emotions all of a sudden. Let's just type in Hillary Clinton cries and see if we can get something there. That was unfulfilling. But
Well, okay, I'll be honest with you. I did, when I saw this, I didn't even realize that they were selling something or that they were trying to get you to sign up for a service. I thought it was like a credit card commercial or something like MasterCard, Masterclass. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't really pay attention to it, but it is really sad to see this 75-year-old woman crying about unsuccessfully
still 5 years ago.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
And of course,
the world
we all
was
know
so
that.
different 5 years
Of course,
ago.
we all know that they never accepted it. They never accepted the loss. They did a recount. They got Jill Stein in on it. They got her to say that she wanted the recount. Then they say this isn't us. And then like once they started to get donations, they then jumped in the Democrats and said, "Oh, we're also in this." And then once it started to look bad, once the recount went against them, they backed away from it. But Jill Stein raised $7 million. I don't know why you need $7 million to initiate a recount. Obviously, you have to pay lawyers and stuff, but I don't think it's going to cost you that much to get the paperwork done. And then they just slowly faded away into the distance, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I guess we'll just keep this Green Party money, keep that Green Party globalization money floating around."
Backed into the bushes like Homer Simpson, like that.
I got another video here. Let's see if it gets more Clinton crying.
And finally, Hilary Clinton, the former Secretary of State. Look at this. Sitting down with Willie Geist in a revealing conversation for Sunday Today.
With one of our
talking
robots.
about her upcoming masterclass. Clinton shares the would have been victory speech.
Hold on. Who does promotion for a master class? Like, who does a press tour for let me do a press tour for other press that I'm doing like, this isn't a special release. Like, no, I've never seen this before. Resume.
She's desperate for attention.
She wrote leading up to the election and the election night in 2016.
That is going to stick out to most people in this master class is an extraordinary one, where you sit down and you read what you call the would-be victory speech.
Extraordinary
My
moment.
fellow Americans, today you sent a message to the whole world.
What compelled you to sit down and revisit that speech?
Well, I wanted to be as helpful as I could to the viewers and to the process of being in a master class. Well, I didn't, as you know, write a concession speech because even though we had a lot of bumps those last 10 days, I still thought, we could pull it out. So I worked on a speech that really was about my journey and had a real emphasis on my mother's life and journey as a way of, making it clear that, yes, I would be the first woman president, but I like everybody, stood on the shoulders and lived the lives and the experiences of those who came before us. I dream of going up to her and sitting down next to her, taking her in my arms and saying, "Look at me, listen to me. You will survive. You will have a good family of your own and 3 children. And as hard as it might be to imagine, your daughter will grow up and become the President of the United States."
Now that is powerful.
You made the
Hillary's
same noise as her.
masterclass. It focused.
See,
Powerful.
she's not sad because she just wants to be president so badly and that she wants to treat the world so nicely and do such a great job. She's sad because she thought she deserved to be president and there was nobody who's going to take that away from her because she had so much power. She's been first lady. She's been secretary of state. She's had this.
Yeah, it was her turn.
It was her turn. She was in government since the 70s with Bill. She's laughed at rapists that got off. She's, made fun of Benghazi. She's fired Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's yelled at Tulsi Gabbard. She's done all these things. She's got so much power. I should be president. Nobody's going to stand in my way. You heard her herself. The last 10 days, I still thought we were going to win so much that I didn't even need a concession speech. 99% chance of winning. Hillary, you lost. Like, let it go. You don't see Bill Clinton out here doing like this stuff. He knows he's crazy. He knows he's a criminal. Just go into the ether like Homer backing into the bushes. It's never going to happen. People just didn't like you because you're a phony. They saw it. They read your emails.
Yeah.
You hate the poor people in your country. You hate the regular person. She's a literal political monster at this point. The Clintons are bad people. There's no getting around that.
Absolutely. And, we can't, I think, well, you mentioned Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and then Donna Brazile was trying to help her cheat. But here's what's really happening, in my opinion, obviously, is that this is the cream of the crop victim card. This is a completely corrupted, powerful woman attempting to get another victim card, right? Like, so, I mean, look, we see it. The Democrats, they love crying. That is currency for them. Andrew Yang cries, and AOC cries, and Rashida Tlaib cries. They love crying. So if Kyle R pulls up on the stand, he's 18 years old, 17 years old, or whatever, he cries, then they laugh him out the building.
Fake.
It's fake. But any other time,
LeBron crying.
LeBron cry. It really is currency. I mean, we all know about the victimhood narrative and all that stuff, but this is the pinnacle of that. I mean, this is a woman who is literally untouchable, no matter how many people accidentally get suicided, how many of her friends don't make it, past the next, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
This is a person in the, well, obviously not. I mean, she might, dude, who even knows? She might, look, I don't want to get too conspiratorial, but this is a woman of great power, crying like, oh, she's still a victim. It's like, dude, and it trickles down. So you're going to have these weirdo media hack lefties talking about, oh, this was just so sad. And it's like, and then next thing you know, everybody's crying. It reminded me of that Seinfeld. Everything, and this is why I love Seinfeld so much, is because it really can help you with life. It's like when George is trying to break up with his girlfriend and she starts crying, so he just goes back. He's like, oh, no, you know what I mean? Like, that's exactly what's happening here. It's like, we all hate you. Literally 90% of the country hates Hillary Clinton. But if you cry, then that's her only defense. Like, AOC can go, oh, woman of color, or Ilhan Omar can say woman of color and Muslim, like she likes to say. But this is the only card that Hillary Clinton has as a 75-year-old white woman, is to just cry and get everybody off of her back, even though she could have just remained in the bushes and nobody would have even cared. So I don't know what this masterclass thing is about, but I will say that this is just her trying to gain whatever victim card. Like, she got to collect them all. That's what they do, bro. This is insane.
And I've been watching some Pokemon lately and Seinfeld. The Puerto Rican. Oh, before I bring that one up, Joe Biden beat Donald Trump by literally not being around and like not having anybody show up to his. Obviously, people think other things happen. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Get banned from YouTube. But he beat Donald Trump without being on camera, essentially. Hillary Clinton is that bad. Those emails were that bad. I remember reading them. That's what,
and that's why the media. That's why the media did you would get kicked off Twitter. You would get kicked off every platform
Cuomo.
for sharing a New York Post article. Now, I think the New York Post is one of the oldest media publications in the country. But if you were to share it, because they knew that type of story could be the complete demise of Joe Biden. But with that said, dude, I traveled around the country pretty good. And I will tell you that from California to Texas, New Orleans, Florida, New York, a lot of places, and there was zero enthusiasm for Joe Biden. I mean, you could drive through the whole country and see people. I saw one when I was driving to South Dakota. Somebody had climbed up on the top of like a clearly risked life and limb to get on the top of this cliff to put an American Trump 2020 flag, a USA flag with the Trump 2020 under. So 2 flags on the top of a mountain on the side of the road. That, I mean, this I literally don't know how it got there, but I can almost guarantee you wouldn't see one of those for Joe Biden. What you would see for Joe Biden is like these weird, creepy sort of Zodiac style, like they were like painted it like hand painted on the back of a sign like Biden, like, oh, it was gross. So I said all that to say, Joe Biden totally won fair and square, and there was nothing
That's true.
wrong. Yeah,
Greatest president of all time.
Nothing fishy at all.
I'm just looking at my Amazon for this Hunter Biden laptop from hell article because the New York Times thing or New York Post thing reminded me of it. Hunter Biden, the person who had the laptop at the New York Post, wrote a book. So I'm like, obviously, I'm barely able to read. I'm pretty much illiterate, like it's 1333. But he said 1333. That was a signal, a dog whistle for 666. But it just says it's unavailable. I pre-ordered it and it's unavailable, of course. Who knows when it'll come back in stock from Amazon? I'm gonna have to try to buy it. Is that
Miranda Devine or Devine?
Whatever her name is from the New York Post? I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, I can't read. Let's get to Jussie Smollett, Eric, because I didn't even watch the full video on purpose because I knew it was gonna be hilarious. For you guys who are watching, who made it, we'll make sure to We'll credit you somehow, I'm sure, but don't pull it down. We're commentating on it. We're allowed.
Well, they have a watermark. Isn't there a big watermark on it? I guess that probably doesn't change the point, but whatever.
Hopefully. All right, let's take a look because this looked hilarious. There, yeah, Idris TV. Good for him.
Is that team? Do we have to go now? We have to
right now. Come on, hurry up.
Aren't you the man from the Empire Show?
That movie? Yes. You got a problem?
Yeah. Why do you
doing around here? Guys, come on, the accent. More white, more racist, hillbilly. KKK?
Okay. Hey, nigger, stop right there.
What are you doing in our town?
Aren't you that nigger from Empire?
Yes, I am. I'm the gay Tupac. What's good? What's good?
Nigger, what the hell you doing over here?
Get more aggressive, more aggressive. Oh, shit! Oh, bitch! Rope around his neck. Let me fight back a little bit. Let me fight back. All right.
Ow, that hurt, nigger. What the hell you do? Pour bleach on his nigger ass.
I'm gonna get the water. Hurry up.
Hurry up.
Please stop doing it, please.
This is MAGA country now, nigger.
You don't belong here. We don't like
your gay seagull ass over here. Don't you ever bring your ass around here, nigger boy, or we'll beat your ass again.
Please don't do it, please.
Hit him one last time to show we're serious. And run away so the cops don't see anything that we already did.
All right. Why? Why me? Why me?
Was that good?
That's good. You guys got Cash App?
No, you told me you were gonna be Venmo.
Venmo? I said Cash App.
Oh, I get the Cash App right now. You can't
Western Union me because I don't have my paper.
Eric, was that the most important story in Black America?
Yeah, this is amazing. This is amazing to me for a couple of reasons. A is that I believe that this video first came out like in 2019 after the actual incident. Yeah, this and it just and it resurfaced with the verdict. So don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I saw it a while back, and now it's making a resurgence.
That was amazing.
And another thing is that this is what this is the far right in action, right? I mean, this is the far hard right making fun of this guy. Look, I don't know what city those guys were in, but you could tell that they are pretty strong on the racism. One of them, I mean, this completely. Now, there's a number of things that bust through their absolutely insane narrative. And who is it? Robin Roberts, who I believe is the highest paid woman on television, who said, "Oh yeah, the police said that it was credible," and Michael Strahan said, "Oh, this is so powerful." And it's like, dude, none of this makes. Yeah. Oh well, the list goes on and on and on.
And then Michelle Obama.
I didn't even know what she said, but I'm definitely not.
She was friends with the prosecutor there.
If
you recall.
I remember when the case got dropped the first time by Kim Fox, I think.
Right, that's
and then
her.
They had And they try to sweep it under. Now, for the record, shouldn't Kim Fox be facing some sort of consequences for this?
You would think
She
so.
completely tried to get rid of this thing, and fast forward 2 years, and this guy. I mean, it was so obvious. But this is hilarious because, again, fact check me on this, but they saw it coming. This was probably came out like, dude, Dave Chappelle. I mean, we all call him Juicy now because of Dave Chappelle. We knew it, and that's what makes it even more funny. This would be funny if they just did it after the verdict, but people knew that we saw this coming. It was no surprise, and Juicy they cannot let it go, bro. They will ride these lies till the end. Even now, Smollett's lawyer is saying that he's 100%, according to the New York Post, is 100% sure that the verdict will get overturned. That's how. That is how bad, like how delusional that bro. And last
Didn't
thing,
he admit to masturbating with one of the guys?
yeah, and smoking weed and driving in the car, but no. And obviously, I'm not the only one to point this out. But how does the mainstream media completely ignore the fact that he said they were white? They've just completely memory hold that, and now it's
He wrote them a check, dude.
Yeah,
I wrote them a check for the supplies. It's the worst fake crime. The video of him doing a dry run.
Who writes checks though? In 2019,
they did a dry run. My friend said when I mentioned that, of course, he's an actor. He's going to rehearse, but he did a dry run. Obviously, there's video cameras downtown Chicago.
And I am not a scientist, but I believe at that time they were experiencing a polar vortex, which would have frozen the bleach.
It would have minus 30 Canadian temperature. I don't know about freezing bleach. Is that possible?
You look at these are things that were happening when we all realized. I mean,
what first temperature does bleach freeze? The stupid imperial system. What's your freezing temperature again? Like 35?
32, I think.
First of all, you should know that. Secondly, what the stupid arbitrary number. Freezing point of bleach. Cannot say what certainty. Chlorine content around 19 degrees will freeze.
Minus 19 or 19?
Just 19.
And that's Fahrenheit, like American.
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever the hell that is. I have to convert this now. 19 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, 32.
Celsius. Minus 7 degrees. That's pretty cold. So 0 degrees is freezing for metric system. The rest of the world, otherwise known as.
Well, we don't play that here. But the point is, I'm pretty sure the point is proven that bleach would have been frozen. Now, I guess they could have had it in.
Probably.
They could have had it in the car.
It was much colder than that.
They could have had it in the car with the heat running, just waiting for
just him walking down the street, directing them to go down the alleyway is just so funny.
And the subway line, though, like when he was talking to Robin Roberts, and I post this on my Instagram every now and then, just because when I'm feeling down, it makes me laugh. Where he's like, I hate how people are so they keep asking me about Subway, and it's like Subway is open 24 hours for a reason. Like when you hungry at night and you don't
Chinese?
have food. I think that was
Jussie Smollett Chinese.
If
it's not a Jewish New York guy, you're not good at it, or Italian New York guy.
I'm working on my Jussie. I don't know, but he's really going to bat for Subway and how much he likes that they're open late at night. None of this makes any sense.
Celebrity endorsements for Subway never work out.
Oh,
that's a Jared Subway guy being a pedophile joke. Chris Cuomo, who's your favorite Italian New Yorker, he was recently taken down.
I think Fauci's actually my favorite, but sorry.
So we talked about how it kind of doesn't make sense for this to be CNN's like cutoff point of helping your brother, which most people would probably do, even though they're both scumbags. Somebody got mad at me for calling somebody scum recently, for calling a doctor scum.
And you can't say that on Instagram. If I leave a comment under De Blasio, it says scumbag, they won't let me. They say it's going to be hidden. This comment will be hidden. So that is the peak of insults now, apparently.
So Cuomo helps his brother gets fired. They're talking about firing Don Lemon for helping Jussie, which would be basically be worse. It's not his brother. So by CNN standards, he should be fired. I'm guessing.
And he has sexual assault allegations as well.
He sure did. And I'm guessing Chris Cuomo, this producer who obviously looks like a weirdo, didn't help him. So I'm guessing Chris Cuomo is, secretly striking back at some people. A veteran CNN producer who producer who worked shoulder to shoulder, quote, with now disgraced ex-anchor Chris Cuomo has been indicted on charges of luring young girls to his Vermont ski house for sexual subservience training. So my guess here, and of course, completely unsubstantiated, just my guess. I'll full screen it so nobody else is blamed. My guess, Chris Cuomo, he's just like, what the hell, producer? I was friends with you for years. You didn't go to bat for me at all. Let's hire a private investigator to see. This guy's creepy. We know this. He's doing weird stuff. We know this. Let's find a private investigator or somebody who knows information about him to get him taken down because you guys didn't stand up for me. Wild allegations by me, unproven, nothing to support it. But I think when other people who are around him start going down at the company he used to work for and didn't stand up for him, because honestly, CNN should have fired him for being a bad presenter, a bad reporter, not because he decided to help his brother, as most normal people would do, help their family member, no matter what.
He should have been gone when the cartoonishly the giant Q-tip bit came out. That should have been the end of both of them, in my opinion.
Yes, it should have been, but like CNN, so you expect these things from CNN. All of a sudden, helping your lying brother is a crime at CNN. Brian Stelter can get up there and be morbidly obese every time, and Don Lemon can be up there and be like a complete liar every time, say everything's racist. You can have Van Jones. You can have all these
and
people
drag
say all this.
Kanye. Don Lemon will never live this down for me. He dragged Kanye's dead mother. Like, come on, bro. You don't like Kanye. That's fine. I mean, you're wrong, but you don't bring a guy's dead mother into the mix because he went to the White House. I mean, Don Lemon should. You know what? I'll stop there. But I don't like Don.
Unbelievable. Nobody likes Don Lemon. The World Economic Forum is constantly creepy, constantly trying to rule the world. And there's another post they did, which is like every 3 months, somebody says you need to eat bugs. And in the new South Park special, the post-COVID, which is apparently more than one episode, because I watched one episode, it was an hour long, and it said to be continued. But they're talking about like, it's the future. Everybody's good and they eat bugs because we know blah, 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 climate change and being a good person. So every 3 months, somebody's trying to suggest to eat the bugs. And obviously it seems to be part of a broader plan. But when the World Economic Forum posts it, this is the plan of Canada, America, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, because they all do lock and step with everything Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum says, no longer conspiracy. Here they are again. When being anti-bug is bigotry, billions of people across the world eat insects as a part of their daily diet. We ask Eric Butler, is it racist to not want to transition to a bug-based diet? Is it, Eric?
Absolutely. And look, we would be better off finding out the things that aren't racist at this point. Like, right? I mean, what can we do? Yeah, what can we do that is not racist? I mean, there was a point where remember there were
bugs.
Milk was racist. I mean, literally everything is racist. Mm-hmm. So in turn, nothing is racist. But as far as the bugs are concerned, why? Look, okay. Why not go with why turn this into a race thing? Like, you could go with any sort of weirdo.
It's all they know how to do, Eric. It's all they know how to do.
A global warming thing, an emissions thing, like something like that. But they choose to turn it. I guess maybe those other things just didn't work, so they turned it into a race thing. But it's like, you could have said, you could have even said, oh, they're packed with protein. You could have said anything, but you chose to turn it into a race conversation, which is
every 3 months they try it, and it's what they used to do with the wage gap. They just kept pushing the wage gap myth every 3 months, and eventually people are just like, this is not true. And so they try the bugs every 3 months. It's either racist or global warming or something. Like, they'll just try everything because they want to create, and I'm sure of this now, they want to create a different form of communism where it's not, everybody who's in the government is powerful. It's just any elite class. No red meat for you. No flying on airplanes for you. No doing fun, fancy things for you at all. It's this huge separation between elite living and the underclass. They don't want red meat to be readily available. They don't want gasoline to be readily available. They want everybody to be on this echelon where, of course, gas being, $20 more per tank isn't going to affect a super rich person. Of course, an airplane flight being $500 more isn't going to affect them. Meat being 500% more isn't going to affect them. The gap between what will affect people at that echelon as opposed to a middle or lower class person is way different. They can easily still afford this. What's like losing an extra $100,000 a year on this stuff to them? It's nothing. So eat the bugs, Eric. Get your COVID microchip that you can get in Sweden and Finland. Why not? It helps you unlock security doors at your work. You can track to see if you're going to have a heart attack. Nothing bad will happen with that.
And remember when they put is it Breonna Taylor, whatever her name is, on CNN when they made her eat bugs on air to prove this was a little while ago. This was probably on this, I don't know. I mean, you're right. They do it like every 90 days. So this was probably 6 or 8 months ago when they put her on air and had her eating bugs to prove to us that it's cool and we should do it.
The cicada things.
Oh,
Here's
cicadas.
Video.
Cicadas. Yeah. Okay. So she's awful. This woman's awful.
God, I hate reaction videos. But is it anything than what we're doing?
No,
really?
yeah. This guy with it. Yeah.
Eat the bugs, lady. I do remember this now.
Yeah, exactly. So
this was racist of her.
And they crunch, and I only bring this up because I saw Greg Gutfeld made a joke about this woman. He slapped her down twice because he made a joke about this segment and nobody understood it, and then he was like, well, nobody even knows who she is, so that joke didn't land, and it was like a 1-2 punch against this weird commie Keller, whatever.
I'm not eating the bugs. It's just not happening.
No, I'm not eating
I'd
the
rather
bugs
go
either.
out and kill animals to eat and hunt than eat bugs. Like, bugs are like, I have 0 other things to eat and I have to scrounge for bugs. Like, people don't train to go hunt bugs because it's more efficient.
Well, this is the long play, right? Like, this is a long con. This is for, they're just priming us so that in 40 or 50 years, they can say, well, it's not new. You know what I mean? They know it's not going to happen right now. It's just like, we're just chipping away so that your grandkids, Andrew, are going to be like, yay, bug dinner. And
ooh, bug protein, soybeans and bugs.
Yeah, you're going to be sitting back like, back in my day, we used to eat, T-bone steak for dinner. And they're going to be like, ew, that's gross. Like, where's the crickets, So
just like soybeans, like destroying the farmland and, Nike shoes and all the other things that they claim, and electric car batteries, all the things that they claim will be better for you. The bugs will be like collected by slave labor, like 6-year-olds in North Korea or something. That's how they'll find some way to make it actually not a good thing to do. Before we leave, I want to ask you if you're so much saliva here. I want to ask you if you're ready for your 4th dose. Pfizer CEO thinks 4th vaccine shot may be needed sooner than expected. Now, I've noticed last week, Eric, that Pfizer and Moderna are battling. Pfizer says, let's get our 4th dose and you need it. Moderna and the BioNTech people, it gets so confusing. Pfizer's with BioNTech, but BioNTech is saying, no, take your 3rd dose now, but also we need a 3-dose vaccine for Omicron. So, Pfizer's just like, no, take ours. And BioNTech is just like, wait, we take that one, but also we have 3 more for you. I'm excited to see what Johnson & Johnson comes up with, Eric. Maybe they'll be like, take this with the poison baby powder and everything will be okay. A 4th vaccine shot may be necessary sooner than originally thought. What a surprise. Salesman of Pfizer, Albert Bourla, believes that people might need a 4th dose of COVID-19 sooner for reasons obviously not profit-based. When we see real-world data, he lies, we'll determine if the Omicron is well covered by the 3rd dose and for how long. At the 2nd point, I think we'll need a 4th dose. Why not 36 doses? Bourla had previously projected that a 4th shot would be necessary 12 months after receiving the booster. So they basically said we've sold as many as we can. Let's just turn it into a yearly thing. And now they're saying, wait a minute, you might need another one before we turn it into a yearly thing. We found a new way to sell it to you.
And this is where they overplayed the hand, right? This is where even the Trevor Noahs, right? We see Trevor Noah stepping out of line and questioning this and saying, well, why is the guy who stands to make enough, his weird, he's still not funny. The joke was not funny. It didn't land over here, but he almost stepped out of the realm of, being now Stephen Colbert still hasn't come out of it. He's, in his weird,
he never will.
He never will. But this is where they really overplay the hand, bro. It's like you haven't even got okay. I did not get any.
Good to go into Ben Shapiro. Okay, here's the thing: you can't just tell me to eat the bugs, right? You can't do that.
I didn't get one.
Not
right?
racist. Eat the bugs.
So this is. They know that I think we talked about this before when the fourth shot wasn't even in the cards, but who? Okay. Does anybody really am I going to cross the line now? No, you've pushed me. You've gone so insane that I'm not going to hop out and say, okay, I'm going to get the first dose now. Nobody is switching. Nobody is crossing the line now. So they have to continue to push it on the same people who bought it the first time and just say so now Fauci's saying, well, and this, I just saw this today on, I don't know, some Sunday show where he's like, yeah, well, the booster really provides protection for the new variant, and so you got to get boosted. And it's like, dude, so you're telling people that already got the shot that they need more shots, but if you don't have any, then you need to get the first one. None of this makes any sense, but they know that. I don't know if they still got too much inventory, or it's just pure greed, or if it's again, is it actually money that's driving this, or is it just control? I mean, I truly don't know. Maybe we'll never know. But they're telling people that the booster works for the new variant that is just announced, all within like 2 or 3 weeks. None of this makes any sense, and they know that people like me are not going to cross the line now. You might have convinced me to participate in this experiment in January 2021, maybe. But you guys were lying about it and you hopped out. Never once, and I keep saying this, never once did we ever hear anybody say, hey, you should really look into this. Ask your doctor about it. We think it works. It might really help you. So go ahead and look into it. And if you want to do it, it's free. No, they went straight to, you can't go to work if you don't do it. Here's a cheeseburger. Here's a donut. Here's a raffle ticket. No, there was never any in between. And so nobody who hasn't got one shot is going to hop out and go get the shot now. So they just have to continue to sell it to the same people who already got it. And even those people are now starting to say, wait, what? So I think they overplayed the hand. And when you've lost Trevor Noah, you are really on your way out. And who is it? Even Dr. Oz, who may or may not be a Republican, who may or may not be completely corrupt, is saying that, and I think he knows that this might convince some people to vote for him, is that Dr. Fauci needs to pay for this. I mean, Dr. Oz is a TV doctor who's friends with Oprah, who we all know is not completely on the level, right? Like, she might be corrupt in some ways that we'll save for a different episode. But he's saying that Dr. Fauci needs to pay. And it's like, dude, you're losing them. You are losing them. So I don't know how long they're going to let this go. And Fauci, I hope that he ends up like a Cuomo brother, right? We saw that old interview where Fauci let the cat out of the bag, where, Chris, I know me and your family go back a long ways. It's like this really disgusting, incestuous media political. We all know that Dr. Fauci is not really a doctor. He's a politician. And this has to come to an end soon. And I think they know it is. And that's why they're in these weird death throes of just throwing things at the wall. Like, go get another one, new variant. Okay. It's, what is it? It's this mid-December. What's the over under on the next variant? Like 3 months, 6 months before there's a new one that they're pushing. This is the new climate change. I didn't even know there's already a new one, but this is going to be like climate change. They've been talking since I was a kid. Since I was a little kid, they were talking about climate change, and that hasn't ended. So we're going to have to learn to live with them complaining about this. And for the rest of our lives, they're just going to keep telling you that you're going to die. And the last thing I want to say here is that This is so extreme because take my family, for instance, who didn't really buy into any of the racism hoaxes and the transgender stuff, and they didn't really buy into any of that. They knew that BLM was a scam, but as soon as Fauci and Cuomo and all these guys came out and said you're gonna die, they bought it. So this was part of the plan, is to, like, all the people who were still not buying all of our old hoaxes, we're just gonna, we told them everything was racist, they didn't buy it. We told them that a man could be a woman, they didn't buy it. Now we're just gonna say you're gonna die if you don't do this, and then boom, they bought it.
I've been saying lately that it's basically, I've been saying for a while that it's basically like selling a product. But if you want to equate it with something innocuous, imagine you have a lazy boy reclining chair, and this is this problem. This is this how you solve your back problems. And all of a sudden, lazy boy comes out and says, you know what? If you want optimal problem solving for your back, if you want your back to be completely feeling better, then you need a summer and a winter reclining chair. Summer chair, you know, it's temperature regulated, it cools you, it's better for your back muscles. Whereas in the winter, you know, it's colder out, it injects vitamin C into you, vitamin D, makes you feel better into the winter. You go out and you buy this summer couch too, or the summer chair, and then all of a sudden they say, you know what, you need a new chair every single year because the fibers in the chair break down, you know, the cushions aren't as protective, the battery for the heating pack on your lower back wears down. You need to buy another chair every single year. Oh, there's a new strain of back problems out there. New things are causing more disc slips. So you need this other chair to properly protect you against disc slips and from vertebrae damage. So as long as the person is buying the product, the salesman's going to keep finding new and innovative ways to sell you a product. It's like the iPhone. They purposely make it so that it's going to break after a certain amount of time and you need an upgrade, and the upgrade makes it slower, or you need to buy a new phone. So long as there is a consumer market, there isn't this person at the top of Pfizer, just like there isn't this person who's at the top of Lazy Boy or Apple, whose job it is to be, you know, their ethics is Pfizer. These things don't exist. They may have in the past, but they don't anymore. There's not a person up there saying, you know, this is going to make us more money, but is it the right thing to do? No, it's on the consumer, and frankly on the news media as well, to a lesser extent, or to a lesser extent than the person themselves, to say this isn't the right thing to do. You shouldn't be buying into it. I don't blame Pfizer, BioNTech, Lazy Boy, Apple for selling you a lemon all the time. I blame the customer. Their job is to sell you things and to make money. Are there people in Pfizer and Moderna saying we need to help people? Of course there are. There's people who work there that do this because they want to further the science. They want to make people feel better. They want to cure things. But it's also, and always was, this big giant machine that most people were suspicious of and hated because there's so much profit coming off of people's health and well-being. I mean, you remember Pharma Bro? It wasn't what people said it was, but still, they were so quick to jump on somebody for being so evil, and now all of a sudden these companies care about you. Now all of a sudden everything is just for your health. All of a sudden Bill de Blasio loves you. All of a sudden Joe Biden loves you. Dan Crenshaw, you want to go Republicans, all these people love you. Mitt Romney loves you, even though he was evil before. All these people love you and care about you now that they found a way for you to buy, basically with your tax dollars, billions upon billions of a product. So if you want to keep buying the product, go for it. Don't use my money for it. Don't make me buy the product every single year if I'm fine without it. I haven't had a flu shot. Maybe I had one when I was a kid. I don't remember. I don't think so. But if you want to get the flu shot, don't make me get it because the efficacy is very low, just like the Johnson & Johnson efficacy is very low. I wouldn't recommend you get that one if you actually think you're being protected from the virus for hospitalizations and severeness. Just don't make me do it. I'm not buying into your salesmanship anymore. Just like if you tell me that the PlayStation 5 comes out and then 6 months later I have to buy the PlayStation 5 mini, you know how that's all they always do it with the PlayStation and Xboxes, the smaller, more efficient version because they've shrunk the technology. I don't have to buy that. If they were to make you buy this PlayStation mini in order to play their games, then you'd immediately be like, oh, of course, this is so that we have to, they're forcing us to buy it. If your iPhone stops working and only the new, whatever they call it, iOS virginity stealing or something like that, whatever the stupid name might be, you're going to be like, oh, obviously they're doing this to milk more money out of me. But for some reason, a vaccine company, everybody's like, oh, yes, This is just for my health, Eric Butler.
Yeah,
let's sell some paper. Oh, you want to get more?
Well, and just I just want to make sure I'm clear that Johnson and like these companies they're not squeaky clean, bro. I mean, we've seen for at least 2 decades that these people have been battling lawsuit after lawsuit. And I'm not saying that there aren't crooked people out there who are looking to make a quick buck by suing somebody, but there comes a point where you're like, wait, you guys, right? Remember when that viral meme was going around? Google who paid the largest criminal settlement in history, and then it turns out to be Pfizer. So it's like we're not talking about squeaky clean companies, and these are the same people. This goes without saying that if Donald Trump were still president, would be burning things down in the street if he was trying to force them to take this shot. So we'll pay some bills on that.
And they didn't want to take it when he was in office either. So that's a pretty obvious thing. Eric Butler on TatumReport.com, his latest story, possibly from December 10th. New York City Council expected to approve racial justice rezoning plan. That seems like something I want to read because that sounds R-tarded. You can find him at TatumReport.com and his book on Amazon in Canada, America, probably all the corners of the flat earth. You want to get the hardcover, I have that behind me, and that's New York City 2020 Gotham Unglued. And Andrew says on rebelnews.com /Andrew_says, or you can go on the show tabs. We've got a big sale on the Rebel store as well. You can also use Andrew 10 instead of Christmas 10 if it's your first time going. I have my last episode with Chandler Crump. We've also got my special with David Menzies getting attacked all the time. That was a live episode, so hopefully that's going to get reposted. I've got Ryan Long this week, which is a hilarious comedian. And that's on rebelnews.com or rebelnewsplus.com if you actually want to sign up, because I did do an extra segment with Ryan Long that's only going to be available behind the paywall. We did it shirtless. Surprise, surprise. No, I wish. That's my bit. It's always to get people shirtless. For some reason, that's funny to me. Let's leave on something fun. Eric Butler, Rob Gronkowski, basically talking about how he faked retiring just so he could not get traded. Anything you want to say before we go? Thanks to everybody on Getter, YouTube, and Twitter. I just tried to say hi to the Getter audience because, real algorithm over there is what I'm trying to say.
Real algorithm art. I'm going to try to get over there. But of course, I'm going to plug my book one last time, New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued.
With your Toronto background. Goodbye, Eric Butler.
I was contemplating if I should retire or not about 2 years ago, and I was like, you just traded me to the Lions. I go, oh, I'm retired. Like, I don't know how that trade can go through. And then 2 days later, the trade never went through.
Can you believe that?
Yeah,
They're going to trade you?
Yeah, I got traded. I told that story before last year.
I never heard that.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, no, I'm retired. How can you trade me? And I stayed on the Patriots.
No, hold on.